president of the St. Louis chapter, National Railway Historical Society. Our group is dedicated to preserving railroad history in the St. Louis area. Just for Steve. Okay. We offer programs on railroad history, tours of railroad sites, trips aboard preserved railway equipment, and we also help fund railroad preservation projects in the area. If you'd like more information on the organization, we have a table right over there. In 2010, we approached the Museum of Transport about raising funds to restore Wabash 573. We recognize the historical importance of this locomotive and the need to preserve it. One of our members, Fred Blank, was instrumental in spearheading the project and getting the momentum going, and we'd like to thank him. Fred, could you raise your hand? We also partnered with the Wabash Historical Society to raise the funds, and they'll be speaking later about the history of the engine. Together we raised over $17,000 through a combination of member and public donations, corporate donations, and grants for railroad preservation. I'd like to thank some of our corporate donors: Ameren UE, Blueberry Hill, Hunter Engineering, and Drury Hotels. A number of other railroad groups around the country helped out, several other NRHS chapters, including the Blackhawk chapter, the Horseshoe Curve chapter, the Roanoke chapter, also the local Gateway division of the NMRA and the American Flyer S-Gagers. We'd also especially like to thank the National Railway Historical Society Grants Program and also the Amherst Railway Society for their generous grants for the locomotive. Many other individuals and groups also donated to the project, and we're grateful for everyone's support. Part of the fundraising we did was to produce and sell a limited edition of reproduction Wabash Banner Blue dining car china. Those sets are identical to what was used on the dining cars on the Wabash Railroad. We have one set left on our table. We're going to be donating that to the museum today, but if you'd like to take a look at it, it's on the table over there. I'd also like to recognize the efforts of the many volunteers who worked hard to restore both the Wabash 573 and the New York Central 2933. It took many years of hard work to properly restore both of these locomotives, and many of our members are also volunteers here at the museum and worked on both of these projects. Please show your support for all their efforts.
That was a recorded announcement. Thanks, Dave. Good to see a good smile on his face. Next, I'd like to ask Bob McNeil to come forward. He's Executive Secretary of the Wabash Railroad Historical Society. Is it railway or is it railroad? This is railroad. This is railroad.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm not sure I need this. My mother always said I have a country voice. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Wabash Railroad Historical Society, it's my honor to speak at this unveiling of the cosmetically restored Wabash Railroad 260 Mogul number 573. This day has been long awaited, and it's a culmination of many groups and individuals' efforts. I want to start by recognizing some folks that are here today. President of the Wabash Railroad Historical Society, Michael John. Past President, Larry Van Houten. Past President, Gary Rowe. And I have several board members here. Would the board members that are here please stand and raise your hand? And would all members of the Wabash Railroad Historical Society that are here please stand and be recognized at this time, if you're members. I'd like to also indicate that there may be some folks here that are members of the Wabash Railroad employment. And if you are here and you work for the Wabash, would you please stand and be recognized at this time? The Museum of Transport was founded by Dr. John Roberts and was the vision of several individuals, among whom was Arthur K. Atkinson. Mr. Atkinson joined the Wabash in 1922, was promoted to vice presidency in 1929. In 47, he became chief financial officer, president in 47. He was elected chairman of the board in 59 and retired from the company in 1950. His papers and other significant documents, photos and films from the Wabash Railroad are in the collection at the archive here at the Museum of Transportation. They are managed by Teresa Militello, curator of the Library and Archives. please see her or contact her if you would like to volunteer, or contact Kobe Ellison and he'll get you in touch with her. There is much to do here, much to preserve, much to conserve, and there are digitization of materials that need to be done as well, as David Hilsing and others can testify. The Class F-4 573 Mogul was built by the Rhode Island Locomotive Works in Providence, Rhode Island in 1899, which means in a couple of years it'll be 120 years old. It looks pretty good. It is one of 5 known preserved Rhode Island engines, including another engine here on the museum grounds, the number 9044T Lake Street Elevated Railroad engine. The Rhode Island operation merged in 1901 with 7 other companies to become the American Locomotive Works, and we know it as ALCO. And there are other ALCO locomotives on display here at the museum as well. At that time, the ALCO employed around 1,400 individuals. It had a capacity to build 250 engines annually at the time that the 573 was erected. The F-4 Mogul number 280 was one of 2 steam engines used on the Keokuk branch from Bluffs to Keokuk, and was one of the last steam engines in regular service on the Wabash. It served on the Keokuk branch due to weight restrictions on bridge number 280. That was over the Illinois River at Meridocia, Illinois, the birthplace of the predecessor of the Wabash, known as the Northern Cross, which was derivative of what was known as an old pioneer trail and former Indian trail known as the Northern Crossing. It weighed only 825 pounds. It had 64-inch drive wheels, 19-inch by 28-inch cylinders, and a tractive power of 25,507. It carried a boiler pressure when fully operational of 190 pounds of steam pressure. It had Stevenson valve gear and had 6-inch valve travel. The tender can carry 10 tons of coal and 6,000 gallons of water when fully loaded. It ended service in January of '55, serving some 56 years. There's more information available on the Heimberger book titled The Wabash, or in publications the WRHS has today available. And they're at our table located over there, kind of under the headlight of the 952. Please make sure you go by the table. Former railroad employee and past treasurer of the WRHS, who recently died, Reverend Van McCullough, served as a fireman in the final days on the branch and was posthumously donated a shovel, which is on display and attached to the engine today. It has been reunited with its engine. That was one of his dying wishes, that it be joined back. We really appreciate Van and his wife preserving that part of history, and we thank the museum here for what they did for that. We of the Wabash Historical Society have worked tirelessly. Well, Andy Sisk, where are you? Some of us may have gotten a little tired, grinding and scraping and other things, and others here know what I'm talking about as well. We provided some sweat equity in the back shops, taking off rust and old paint, priming, and anything else necessary to arrive at today's result with those other tireless volunteers that have been mentioned before. I am reminded today of a favorite quote of mine from American patriot Thomas Jefferson. It is the duty of every good citizen to use all the opportunities which occur for preserving documents relating to the history of our country. That is one of the aims of the Wabash Railroad Historical Society. Our Constitution says in part, to preserve the historical materials of railway transportation of the former Wabash Railroad Company, its predecessors, affiliates, and successors, to collect data on the history and operation of the aforementioned railroad company, and to issue publications relating to this subject. And 3, to maintain an association of persons interested in the former Wabash Railroad. This 3-part effort includes things just like the cosmetic restoration of the 573 that you're going to enjoy seeing a little bit. Other efforts that we are involved in include the restoration of the replica of the Rogers we're currently involved with at another museum. It was displayed at the 1948 and 49 Chicago Railroad Fair, which President Atkinson was the director of in 1949. We're also involved in archiving and digitizing Wabash materials, securing articles for our 2 publications, and our publications editors are here today, so if you have articles or stories you want to say, I would direct you to make sure you see Rob Adams or Gary Rowe for that purpose. We encourage you to look at our calendar that is for sale. We have members in 33 states and 3 countries, so we are truly a nationwide society, and we appreciate the efforts here. Please see me or another member of the society if you would like to sign up. If we get 5 more today, we break 200, so we'd really like to get that goal. Our annual meeting this year will be involved at the Bellevue, Maumee, Ohio area, and I would like to thank the board of the Museum of Transportation, Director Terry McEachern, I hope I said that right, Terry, and the museum curator, Kobe Ellison, and the volunteers here as well for the wonderful way you preserve the railroad history here for future generations to learn about and to learn from. Be sure you go down below and see the Wabash Streamline caboose that former member of the society, the late Vance Lisher, donated to the museum. It is an interpretive piece of history that you can walk through and learn about what happened on the railroad. Thank you for your attendance and participation today. At this time, I would like to call Michael Johns forward for a presentation. Mr. Johns will be involved in the ribbon cutting ceremony, but he has a presentation to make to the museum director. Giving that to the museum director.
Would the museum director come up? Come forward, please. Yeah, whomever is going to receive this.
I don't know anybody that turned down money.
On behalf of the Wabash Railroad Historical Society, we want to make a small donation to the museum, and we appreciate all the work that you do, and thank you very much.
I appreciate that.
Thank you very much.